What sort of challenges did you face with fundraising?
Everything. I mean, I couldn't have picked a worse time.
So just to clarify, when was this? What date roughly? What month was this when you sort of started to go out to start fundraising?
I tested the waters early before the tech was done in June 2018. I went to some trusted VC sort of scouts and people I know in San Francisco and was like, hey, here's what we're trying to build. What do you think? And it came back pretty quick that our tech was not fundable yet because we were effectively not ready. Like we didn't have the tech and then we had no business proof. And even though they liked us as a team, they had no idea how to like estimate probability of success because we were so early. And that was just the nature of it. And so we looked at that and said, that's kind of what I thought, but it's good to know where we might fit. And so knowing that and knowing also like what they're kind of, keep in mind, that's July 2018. I think July 2018. The crypto market had crashed in January. So you had all these people that were hot on blockchain reverse course. You already have this sort of plethora of investors who hate music because they've all lost tons of money in music. Like it's not been helpful for them. So like when you think about people who've actually made money in music, it's like people who backed Spotify. There's probably a handful of investors, but most of them have lost significantly. So I think that was the issue. So you're fighting these two kind of headwinds is like music and blockchain. And so, I thought, okay, let's just not even talk to any more investors until the tech's real, because there's no point in like beating ourselves up. Like, let's focus on strategy first and get the technology, because we know we have the customers. Maybe this can be customer financed, whatever. There's other pathways. So then when February came around, when we came out of stealth mode, February 2019, and we're like, we have the technology, we've battened the hatches, we know exactly what we need to do to excel. We quietly started going and getting proof points that we thought would signal to investors. So we had labels sign the LOIs, the same labels that we were working with already to give us feedback. We're like, yeah, we're in. And they started signing agreements with us. We started quietly building an advisor board that was very powerful and industry endemic and relatable. So we started doing all of those kind of pieces. And then when we went out to fundraise, we just removed blockchain from everything almost. Because at the end of the day, we're like, oh, blockchain powers the protocol for verifying, but like we're a music data company, like we're not a blockchain company. And I think focusing on fighting one battle, which was music, and why we'd be the team to overcome sort of the issues of music investment, was easier than trying to fight both battles of blockchain and music. So we actually stripped blockchain out of most everything in our presentation. We had one slide on why blockchain is useful for consensus, or why they agree, but that was basically it. Everything was around, this is the customer who asked us to solve this problem. We've then solved this, we've created the technology, it's already done and filed multiple patents. And we have all these customers already lined up to use it. And this is the traction we have. We need your money to scale the team and execute on this. And here's all the signals of why we're going to be the team, like the advisor boards and the people who've written about us or whatever. And so that narrative, I think, really worked well, because then it was less about blockchain. The technology was assumed to be solid. It was more about, will these guys succeed in the music industry, and are they the team to do it? And I think the overwhelming answer once we got to that was yes. And we were like 200% oversubscribed in our round. And so we had to kick a bunch of investors out. And we said, we were very real about this is the goal. Like, you give us this money, we're going to scale up the team with this technical staff, almost all engineering. And we're going to go get you 20 more labels that are all willing to use this. And we accomplished that in 3 months after we fundraised. Like, we fundraised, hit the goals in 3 months. And then all of a sudden it was like, well, we have enough milestones that the next piece is like, how are we going to fund the server and processing for some of these DSPs? Like, to turn on a DSP is expensive, because remember I said, like with the Snoop Dogg example, you need to know the aggregate count. So you can't just track your own, you have to track the ecosystem of the number of plays. And so that's expensive. So we went back to investors and said, hey, I know it's only been 3 or 4 months, but like, we've hit all the milestones and we're crushing it. And here's what we need to turn on streaming services. And so this next batch of funding is really an extension to get us there before we go for a really large round. Yep. And so again, we were almost 200% oversubscribed. We ended up kicking a bunch of money out. And so we went back-to-back fundraising rounds. And so we went effectively like a large pre-seed to a seed. And with the goal, like with this money, we will turn on a streaming service. We will prove that the data comes in. We will prove that both sides of the market want this thing and that we have a lot of proof points with industry leaders who are asking for it. And so that's really what we've been focused on, I'd say, since really the end of 2019 and most of 2020. Like we didn't expect COVID to kind of, I don't think anyone did expected COVID to kind of delay or do anything on that front, but we've adjusted pretty well to that, and we've continued to just march forward, and I think put ourselves in a really good position to continue winning market share as we come out of when we come out of
what's going on now. If you like this video, why not check out the full interview this is an excerpt from. You should see a link to that full interview somewhere here on the screen, and I'll also put one in the description box below. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking it, and do subscribe to the channel if you want to stay up to date with all my videos as they go live. So thank you so much for watching, and stay curious.